Hello and welcome back to the December edition of English Demystified Electronic Edition. On today's episode, we'll be discussing Billy Elliot as well as Neighbours and how these two texts provide insights into individual and collective human experiences and how they are formed. In the film Billy Elliot, directed by Stephen Daldry explores human and collective experiences and the impacts of these experiences on individuals and collectives. One key collective human experience is facing life challenges. In the Elliots family, Billy and his family struggles with the traumatic death of his mum, as well as the current ongoing fear of job insecurity, as the union continues to strike to get better working conditions. Billy additionally also experiences the burden of looking after his grandmother, who has dementia. For Billy copes with these challenges through ballet. Billy is shown to be drawn to ballet early on and is able to express his true self, and is able to paradoxically remove himself from identity, yet show his true identity. Him saying that ballet sort of feels good, sort of stiff and that, but once I get going, then I forget everything and sort of disappear. Ballet helps Billy disappear from the worries of day-to-day life and helps him momentarily forget these hardships, such as his mum's death, his brother's and father's job insecurity, as well as breaking free and forgetting the ongoing violence occurring in the outside world as the union continues to strike. Additionally, other characters in the family react in different ways when facing these life challenges. Jackie, the father, when reacting to his wife's death, reacts by closing off his emotions, acting tough as a facade, as he tries to deal with his wife's death. Whilst Tony, the brother, reacts by focusing his emotions into the strike, as well as acting violently to the family. The family, however, ultimately as a collective, supports each other, and especially Billy, as they overcome their negative connotations towards ballet and learn to accept it, and then, in addition, aid Billy by selling their mom's jewelry and sacrificing the strike, with Jackie returning to the mines for Billy to go to the Royal Ballet School. This sacrifice is shown by the juxtaposition nearing the end of the movie, with Billy Elliot doing his swan lake dance, and the film ending with him in the air representing his current state of triumph, whilst the last key scene of his dad as him entering the mines with the rest of the miners as the union caves. Similarly, in Neighbours by Tim Winton explores many collective and human experiences focused on the dynamic human experience of belonging, as well as the individual experience of being open to change, some being more stubborn than others. The way an individual experiences the world may result in different reactions when they are challenged by different or new ideas. In Neighbours, the story follows the journey of a newlywed couple as they find themselves confronted by a migrant community. Winton describes their initial reaction to their foreign neighbours as wary and cautious, and describing their connection to their neighbourhood with a simile. It made the newlyweds feel like sojourners in a foreign land. The negative connotations depict how quickly the newlyweds move to fear and condemnation of their new neighbours due to it being new and familiar to them, stereotyping the community as a threat for being new. The newlyweds' idea of how a community should act, from being one where neighbours are seldom seen and never heard, to being constantly seen and always heard, has forced the couple to challenge their previous assumptions. This assumption is conveyed through the form of a flashback. This is furthermore shown in the utilization of juxtaposition, contrasting their previous outer-suburban homes with their new suburb. With the feeling of detachment of their community due to their ethocentristic parochial attitude, the couple segregates themselves from the community, being ignorant of change. Winton conveys that the way an individual is raised can lead them to having a different insight on the world, and may react differently to a person born in a different environment. Winton thus contrasts the neighbours as being rude and weird, whilst in reality, the newlyweds are in fact the rude and weird ones. Alternately, individual experiences are shaped by their environment from either resistance or inspiration. In Billy Elliot, Billy's joy and passion for dancing is hindered by resistance from the disapproval of his family. Billy, through perseverance, continues to perform ballet, going against societal norms. By going against the collective, Billy learns to become more independent and to ignore gender stereotypes, whilst his family learns to become more approving, opening their minds up to ideas that ballet is an okay activity, removing their once parochial mindset. Conversely, Winton's Neighbours also explores the human experience of belonging, and that in order to experience belonging, one must first overcome barriers such as prejudice and the removal of parochial mindsets. The first positive interaction after tensions were at its peak was when their neighbours came to offer advice on their plans. Initially, the couple was still hesitant and were annoyed about being interrupted. However, they took their advice of their neighbours to heart. Winton shows that this human experience of belonging by showing the audience the transition from ignorance and an ethocentristic attitude to an accepting, non-parochial attitude by the neighbors, initializing the interaction with the intent of friendship rather than war. Additionally, the connotation in this section of the text changes from being once a negative and weary one to being weary but inclusive. This is also further shown by the change of juxtaposition of where they no longer walked with their eyes lower, thus further showing how their attitude has changed from once of being of avoidance to one of acceptance. The transformation of their attitude from being dismissive to one of acceptance shows the formation and exploration of new ideas by the newlywed, and thus ultimately Winton positions his audience to explore and reassociate themselves with the experience of belonging. To conclude, Neighbours and Billy Elliot both provide unique insight into unique collective and human experiences, both focused on how the individuals view our world through dismission or optimism. That concludes English Electronic December edition. Tune in next month where we explore discursive texts.